FC Barcelona have failed to register Dani Olmo before January 31st, 2024. We stand here today on January 2nd, 2025 with Dani Olmo no longer being considered as a FC Barcelona player. Dani Olmo has been deleted by La Liga within Barcelona's roster, and so Joan Laporta and the rest of his men that work within this club have to do everything they can to make sure Dani Olmo is registered as soon as possible, as La Liga has given Barcelona an extension up to 3 days to make sure that Dani Olmo gets his name registered for the club within this league. It's crazy to see how things are turning out. The fact that Barcelona today, 5 years after the pandemic, is struggling to register their own players, I have no idea what to tell you guys. Like, I think that yes, maybe Joan Laporta within the next 48 to 72 hours will get the job done. Dani Olmo will become a Barcelona player. But what does this say for the future players that might want to come to the club? Maybe Nico Williams, maybe Leao, maybe Erling Haaland, whoever it may be. They have to look at this situation and say, oh my God, the state that Barcelona is in, who knows when Barcelona will get back to normality? Because I don't want to try and sign for FC Barcelona and then my name might not even get registered for the league. So it puts a bad name towards the rest of the footballing world. And I believe that a lot of this does have to do with Javier Tebas, who is the president of La Liga, who has these restrictions, has these limitations, gives Barcelona a much tougher time to build a squad. I've already said time and time again, why would Javier Tebas want to make it difficult for any of his teams within this league to improve their squad? The one thing that you must do as a president that manages multiple clubs within Spain is to make sure that these players get into this club with ease and the clubs become stronger, so you can have these Spanish clubs go to Europe and put a name for themselves. We want to see Barcelona in the semifinals, Atletico Madrid in the semifinals, Real Madrid in the quarterfinals. We want to see Girona, Valencia, Real Sociedad make a big statement in the Champions League or in the Europa League, but none of these teams can do that or achieve that when you have so much limitations and you're experiencing registration issues. And so clearly, going back to the Dani Olmo case, Barcelona have not given up on Dani Olmo, and also with Pau Victor, who is also another player that is currently not registered with FC Barcelona. It has also been said that Barcelona, Joan Laporta, they all remain very optimistic, even though they did lose their second appeal, because their first appeal was last week around Thursday or Friday, and their second appeal was on Monday earlier this week. So if you guys were wondering why Dani Olmo and Pau Victor got unregistered by the league, that is because they were given the license earlier this season that lasted until December 31st. Usually they are given the licenses to be registered with the league until their contracts do end, but the league only gave them a temporary permit. And what's crazy is that Joan Laporta had to do so much just to register these two players for only 5 months into the season. For example, Barcelona did announce a new sponsorship deal with Nike in November, and they have also been exploring using the money from the long-term sale of the VIP boxes in order to meet the financial fair play rules and really give Dani Olmo and Pau Victor some reassurance. To Barcelona, they believed that the VIP box sales will meet the demands of La Liga and end this all to make sure that the saga is done between Olmo and Pau Victor. And so once again, it's crazy to me to know that the only reason why Dani Olmo and Pau Victor got registered in the first place was because of injuries. Like, that was one of the ways Barcelona got helped, because if a club lose a player to injury for at least 4 months, La Liga rules allows them to allocate 80% of the player's salary in the club's allowances to register another player. For example, Araujo in the summer got a hamstring injury. He was going to be out for 5 months. Andreas Christensen also got injured 4 to 5 months ago, and he was going to be out for half of the season. Marc-Andre ter Stegen also freed up some wages because of his ACL injury. So Araujo's injury gave space to Inigo Martinez to be registered until the end of this season, while Christensen's injury allowed for Dani Olmo to get registered for the first half of the season. So if it wasn't for those two players getting injured, we would have never gotten Olmo nor Pau Victor. And this is why Barcelona are struggling today, is because Christensen and Araujo are coming back, which is going to be inflating the numbers within Barcelona wages. And so to Barcelona, this is something very new, because this is something that they did not achieve 4 to 5 months ago, which was allowing for Pau Victor and Dani Olmo to get registered through pure income. So like I've said, Barcelona for sure will get it done. I have faith in what Joan Laporta is doing. I mean, like, this is nothing new to us. We still had registration issues like last year around 2023. Barcelona had to secure a personal bank guarantee from the board members, which allowed for Araujo, Marcos Alonso, Sergio Roberto, Iñaki Peña, and Gavi to get registered back in 2023. I also do want to quickly talk about Frenkie de Jong, because Frenkie de Jong had an interview earlier today, and Frenkie de Jong made a huge statement that really did caught my attention. And this is what he said: "When I signed for Barcelona, I didn't imagine to win only La Liga, Copa del Rey, and the Spanish Super Cup after 4 years. I expected at least double, so that disappoints me. Things happen on the road you cannot predict." And so what Frenkie de Jong is basically doing here is saying, you know, I thought that I was going to be achieving so many trophies with FC Barcelona. By the time I got here in 2019, I'm like, okay, we have Messi, we have Suarez, we have Jordi Alba, Piqué. This is a great team. But only to find out 4 to 5 years later, Frenkie de Jong has not really won much. And I believe that a lot of this doesn't really have to do with Frenkie de Jong himself. Like, many people have been bashing at Frenkie and saying that, well, this is your fault because you don't try. What do you expect from FC Barcelona when you don't even try yourself? I think that in a way we can't really go too hard on Frenkie with this, because we have to remember Frenkie came before the pandemic hit back in 2019. Like, literally 6 to 7 months later, after Frenkie de Jong moved to FC Barcelona, the pandemic hit and Barcelona were really struggling. And so the whole thing changed from there, right? Barcelona were losing a lot of players. Barcelona were like in debt by 1.2 billion. It was truly the beginning of chaos. And Frenkie de Jong just came in. If Frenkie really wanted to win like double of whatever he was saying, it probably would have been smart for him to like come in at around 2014 or 2015, but he was too young. But you understand what I mean. I believe that Frenkie just came at the wrong moment. FC Barcelona were truly about to go into the rebuilding phase. Even with Lionel Messi leaving back in 2021, Barcelona were hurting. Since Frenkie's arrival, Barcelona have had about 4 different coaches, which was first with Ernesto Valverde, then came Koeman, then came Quique Setién, then came Xavi Hernandez, and now it is Hansi Flick. I believe that if Frenkie truly wants to win more trophies with FC Barcelona moving forward from here, because we were back in the rebuilding phase, we have to really make sure Frenkie is in his best position, and Frenkie himself has to ask more from himself. He needs to score more goals. He needs to provide more assists. His role through FC Barcelona has really evolved, and because it has evolved so much from going to the CDM position to the central midfield position to the number 8 position to the left wing position, it goes to show that yes, he was never really settled at the club. But with Hansi Flick now placing him as a number 10 to be the player behind the striker, Frenkie de Jong has to own that role. Like, if he wants to make Barcelona better and if he wants to give Barcelona a better chance on winning more trophies, he has to deliver as a number 10. You must score, you must assist, and Frenkie de Jong has those capabilities. I think that his position has been lost in the CDM position, which was by Gavi or through Pedri or through Casado. Even worse with Bernal coming in the summer of 2025. Frenkie de Jong today, like I have said, because he does have a new role under Hansi, which is the number 10 position, he must score goals. It is going to greatly help FC Barcelona and try to compete with Dani Olmo. Because one thing is for sure, if we were to compare the ball technicality between Dani Olmo and Frenkie de Jong, they are at the exact same level. They are. Like, Frenkie de Jong does not have worse technical ability compared to Dani Olmo. No, Frenkie de Jong is Frenkie de Jong, and de Jong has to notice that. And Barcelona is slowly getting out of the rebuilding phase, and all Frenkie has to do is to now deliver. And so that is it. That is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.